For centuries, the land we live on has been fought over, conquered, and altered in ways that we are now only beginning to understand. As we face the realities of climate change, it's more important than ever to understand the history of our relationship with the land.
We're taught in schools about the Pequot War, but we're not really taught about what it meant for our people.
And we're definitely not taught about how it set the stage for what came after, the way our land was taken and changed forever.
But the land will fight back, like it always has, with fire, with water, and with disease. This documentary is an opportunity for us to confront the history of our relationship with the land and to imagine a better future for all of us.
In the early 1630s, indigenous Americans witnessed over 3,000 Europeans come to the shores of Massachusetts to promote Christianity and to gain wealth. While the Europeans claim their actions are justified by God, the motivation for their expansion and migration quickly became fueled by a lust for wealth and profit. The indigenous people who have lived here for thousands of years became alarmed by the invasion of the Dutch and British as they spread in all directions, clearing forests, marking out farms, bringing invasive species, and building roads with little regard for the native people. Worse yet, the Europeans bring large numbers of cattle, hogs, sheep, and horses. These invasive species were used to drastically alter the land, threatening fields, crops, and the native way of life. In Native American cultures, such as the Pequots, the land is viewed as living. It is at the center of these cultures to express gratitude for Mother Earth and all her living things. The water, the berries, the animals, all the plants they use, the grandmother moon, and everything that the Creator shares. The deep relationship with the land is evident throughout Native American culture. For example, 80% of the words in most indigenous languages are verbs. There is no word for a tree. There is only the action of being a tree. So when a tree needs to be cut down, indigenous people will put words in tobacco and burn it with the belief that the smoke will travel to the sky world with a message of gratitude. On the other hand, the invaders see the earth as inanimate, a commodity. They offer no thanks as they consume the land, devouring the forest and landscapes of Massachusetts more and more before spilling into Connecticut. This land is a stronghold of the Pequots. Unable to share the fertile land of the Connecticut River Valley, a horrible war is fought. At the peak of the war, an allied Puritan and Mohegan force under infamous English captain John Mason brutally attacks a Pequot village in Mystic, Connecticut. To learn more about the Mystic Massacre, we traveled down to the Mystic Research Center to look over documents, interview experts, and begin to piece together a picture of this history. Amidst our research, we discovered the man responsible for preserving this history at Mystic, Marcus Mason MARONN, is actually a direct descendant of the lead perpetrator, Captain John Mason.
There were two forts, villages up there, fortified villages, palisade walls of, upright trees. And this was the secondary fort, the one that was closer to Mystic. The main fort where Sassacus was only like a mile and a half down, further towards the coast. Mason entered first and right away was overwhelmed by resistance. And of course there's massive confusion. And they said, this is crazy. We're all going to get killed in a matter of minutes. And that's when he said the infamous words, we must burn them, meaning the wigwams, not the people. So they lit a couple wigwams on fire, and it just so happened that there was a stiff breeze that morning, and it was going in that direction where he was on one end, and he lit these wigwams, and the fire just spread real quickly all the way down to the other end. The whole place was a conflagration in 20 minutes. And a lot of the Pequots, especially the women and children, were literally hiding in the wigwams. They were frightened to death, and some of them tried to escape, and they got killed as soon as they tried to get out of the palisade. And within, about an hour later, that was it. The whole place was a wreck. and most of them were killed.
With this violent new chapter introduced to the relationship between the indigenous people and migrating Europeans, more and more tribes began to realize the stakes of the war. Miantinomi, sachem of the Narragansetts, tried to rally support, reaching out to several other native tribes to unite the indigenous people.
There you go. For you now, our father, had plenty of deer and skin. Our plains were full of deer, as also our woods, and of turkey, and our covers for fish and fowl. But these English have gotten our land. With scythes cut down the grass, and with axes fell the trees. Their cows and horses eat the grass, and their hogs spoil our clam banks, and we shall all be starved.
Despite his effort, Miantinomi fails, and fate now rests in the hands of a Wampanoag sachem, Metacomet, also known as King Philip. Tragically, King Philip fails, and the last of his warriors are killed in a battle, taking place only a few miles from our school campus, just south of the Sheffield, Massachusetts border. The physical proximity to this battlefield again reminds us of the ways the land around us holds a deep history, and one that is often overlooked. Sitting across from Mr. Maron and immersing ourselves in this history offered a new perspective on the complex and interconnected nature of this history, displaying that the actions of individuals, even those that took place centuries ago, continue to shape the lives of people today.
What I find fascinating about this story is, although we can learn it in the textbooks as they show it as Native Americans being the victims and being oppressed, we can also look at them as survivors, as they endured the trauma from the past, and they fought back even though they were outnumbered and outmanned by the machines that the Europeans brought over. They still fought back, and we're still here today, and that is why I'm proud to be Indigenous.
I'm very proud to be Indigenous. Before this, I had no idea what the Pequot War was. I didn't know any of the events that had happened. And now seeing that, we had our 400 men, women, and children killed, and just our villages coming in and just getting swept away with the fires and stuff. It's just cool and makes me very proud to see how far we've come and that we're still here today.
Researching and sharing this history is hard, but it is also a powerful reminder of the importance of confronting and learning the lessons from the difficult truths of history.
The journey to understand the Pequot War and the Mystic Massacre is a difficult one, but it is also a powerful reminder of the importance of confronting the difficult truths of history. As Indigenous students, it is our responsibility to honor our ancestors and to work towards a brighter future for our communities.